Hello. I've had a few questions, quite a few in the last couple of weeks, about this one-way banjo that I use on my lathe, and why I started using it, and whether it was easy to get it to work on the Nova bed. To start with the why, this is the stock Nova rest. It's not a bad rest, or a banjo, not rest, banjo, but I was finding that when I was using this big curved rest, to work around the back of a large bowl, when I was making a cut way out here, I was getting a fair bit of vibration, and sometimes the vibration would be severe enough that the banjo would loosen itself off and start sliding around on me. So I figured that if I had a rest or a banjo that gripped the tool post higher up, as you can see, there's quite a difference in height here. I figured if it was gripped higher up and more of it was in the hole, it would help with the vibration, and it certainly did help. It didn't maybe eliminate it 100% if I'm trying to take a heavy cut when I'm way out there, but for most circumstances it did eliminate the vibration. And I must say I have never had this banjo vibrate loose on me the way I have had with this one. There are a few issues when using this banjo compared to the Nova banjo. This one has a lot more metal around the post hole, so using the stock Nova tool rest, there really isn't much in the way of forward offset. Like if I have that in there, you look straight down, I'm seeing a ½ inch of that post. So that means that if I have a blank mounted in the chuck that's still flat, I can't get the tool rest any closer than that to the face of the blank. If I wanted to get at the corner, I could always arrange it so that I was cutting off from the side, but you can't get any closer than about 3/4 of an inch, basically, with the stock Nova rest. So I bought the one-way tool rests And as you can see, there's a fair bit of forward offset to the support. And if I've got that mounted and I'm looking straight down, it's forward far enough to clear that post. Both all the way around. So that became a little bit of an issue. Also, if you've got some rests like this, this is the it's a component system where this 1-inch post has a threaded stud sticking out of the top of it, and the rests just screw onto it. But they're just a round bar rest, and there's no offset at all. So as you can see, I'm at least an inch away from that post, away from the face of that post. So that can become a little bit of an issue if you're trying to use rests that you already have. If they don't have any forward offset from the post, you can run into trouble. Okay, another point. I can arrange the Nova rest so that post is pretty much on the center line of the lathe. I have somewhere, this is another rest that's part of the component system. It's called a scraper rest. And what you would use that for is as if you were making a box. You could put that rest right into the box if you were using a scraper on the sides of the box. And that, I can't say I've used it a lot. It looked maybe handier than it turned out to be. But with the one-way rest, or banjo, if I push it in that far, I don't know as it'll clamp. And I'll have to take it off to show you why. Okay, so the bottom of the banjo basically is like a keyhole slot with an opening here. This apparatus down here, I don't think I'm going to be able to show you that very well. I would have to take this nut off and take that out of the way, and I really don't want to do that because that's adjusted to the thickness, and I don't want to have to do it again. Alright. So, there's my zoomer. And, alright, I think you can see that. These blocks there's two. This rod that runs the length of the banjo is a square bar, and on that bar are mounted a couple of blocks which are basically, I doubt if you're going to be able to see a pencil line. Which are basically shaped like that. And they have a section in here that's where the cam action is inside this circle. Unlike most other banjos. But these shoulders here ride on the top surface of this section. And that's so it can slide back and forth the length. But if I slide this, and in order to get that in there, they've got this hole so that, like, these pieces go in, and then the bar is shoved through the holes. So if I slide the banjo in far enough to get the center post, or the tool post hole, near the center line of the lathe, then that's come off the shoulders. It's back into the hole where it was originally inserted. The other one is still fully engaged with the shoulders. But I have found that if I slide it in too far, and then when I go to slide it back out, this thing can rock back and forth and doesn't want to engage on those shoulders again. I have taken that out and filed off the leading corner so that it sort of ramps on, and that helped a lot. I don't seem to run into that problem nearly as much anymore. But I don't really want to apply a lot of clamping pressure when I've only got one of these blocks engaged. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so the clamp block itself is attached in between those two cam blocks. There's a piece that's, in essence, I guess it's like an eye bolt. It encircles this this bar, and there's a threaded stud sticking down from it. And then this nut goes on the bottom to retain it. Now, the main problem I had in getting this lathe to work, or this banjo to work on the Nova bed, was that as shipped, this entire nut was standing, the clamp block itself was just a flat piece of metal with a hole in it. So the nut would tighten down right onto this surface here, which left, that must be close to 5/8 of an inch of nut there. Yeah, that's about 5/8 of an inch sticking down below the clamp block. Now the Nova bed, the webs that go across, you've got your bedways and the sides of the bed. Now these pieces were pretty much straight with a semicircular cutout and then straight again. Well, this cutout wasn't deep enough to allow for that nut, so you couldn't move the banjo the length of the bed. This nut would hit every place there was a web going across. So I took the clamp block to a machinist and got him to counterpore it about 3/8 of an inch deep. And then I brought it home and put it together and put it on, and it wasn't quite enough. It would clear, but if it was shifted either way, it was hitting on these corners. So I took an angle grinder and ground those corners off on all the webs along the length of the bed. So now it's like that rather than like that. I just ground those corners off. And now that I've done that, it works fine. But it certainly wasn't as easy as I was hoping it was going to be when I originally ordered the banjo. Okay, another thing that is an issue with this one. This is the banjo that Oneway has designed for their 16-inch lathe, 16-inch swing. Means it's 8 inches from the center of the spindle to the lathe bed. This lathe is also a 16-inch lathe. It's a Nova DVR with 16-inch swing. The tool post is about 5 3/4 inches tall. And the Nova rest is about 4 1/8 inches tall. So there's about 1 3/4 inches difference between the two. If you have the McNaughton coring system, it comes with this this gate assembly, which fits into your banjo and locks in. In order for that to be able to work, it seems to me that in the directions for the McNaughton system, that they tell you that you have to be able to go from the center line of your spindle to the top of your tool post has to be no less than 2 7/8 inches. And on the one-way banjo, it's only about 2 inches. So I still have to use my Nova banjo if I'm coring. So that means that I can't use my one-way banjo if I'm coring. I don't know how tall the banjo for a 12-inch swing lathe, the one-way banjo for a 12-inch swing lathe, I don't know how tall it is. But, so it would only need to be about 5/8 of an inch shorter than this one, and I'd be able to use it for coring. I just wouldn't have a collar on it then if it was 5/8, if it was exactly 5/8 of an inch shorter. But I would think that a banjo for a 12-inch lathe should be 2 inches shorter than a banjo for a 16-inch lathe, really. But I don't know that for a fact, so don't quote me. So, hopefully I was on camera through most of that. So thank you for watching.